Hey everyone, welcome back. It is January. It's a warm 40-degree winter day, and I've been in somewhat of a hibernation at home. I have a newborn son, so I've been busy with him, taking care of him. But today I found the time, thanks to my wife, to sneak out of the house and go for a little walk in the woods to enjoy this day. And I think while I'm here, I'm gonna do some foraging, see what I could find to enjoy, and I will bring you along for the journey. So in this little section of the woods, it looks like maybe the Parks Department came and cut down some trees that were in the way and maybe cut up some branches that were in the way. And maybe some of these branches just fell. But I think I'm gonna grab some of the needles from this tree and just smell it. Oh yeah, that smells great. I don't know what this tree is, but I'm 99% sure it's nothing that could hurt me. I know that sounds reckless, but to my knowledge, the only evergreen that could really do any damage to you is a yew tree, and this is not a yew tree. So I'm gonna grab these. I'll make sure when I get home and I have, internet access that this is not poisonous, but I know it's not, and I know it smells great and will taste great. So I just gathered some needles from that tree. Get more than you think you need because you'll need a lot. And I'm going to get some more needles from other trees, from other kinds of trees to make more tea. So this would probably not be enough for like one serving of tea. You want to get a lot or else you won't taste it. So over here I see a tree that I definitely can identify, or some needles I definitely can identify. These are pine needles, obviously, probably eastern white pine, and I'm definitely going to collect these. I've had them before, they're great. And I've been using fallen trees. There's really no reason to do that. You could use fresh ones. I just chose to use trees that were fallen. It's not like these are rare or anything and that you would destroy anything by using or taking needles off a live tree. The thing is, like with a pine tree, you could see the leaves or the needles don't start until way up high, so there's not really a practical way to get them unless you use unless you find like a really young pine tree, which I think there are some over there, or you find like a branch like this, which is pretty freshly fallen from a storm. So I'm gonna go ahead and collect these, and I think that'll be enough for me to make some tea. So I think I got enough needles to make a couple of cups of tea. So I'm going to head back out of the woods and head home. You could definitely make these if you're camping. If you were camping, I would just say separate the needles from the branches as best you can, and boil them in water and filter them out. Filter out the needles as best you can. At home, we're going to use a pestle and mortar and a French press, but you could definitely make this in the field. So I just wanted to mention something before I head on out of the woods. I was on the lookout for cool shrooms while I was out here. I didn't see any, but it did remind me that I wanted to show you this book that I've been using to mushroom forage. It's called Mushrooms of the Northeast by Teresa Marone and Walt Sturgeon. You should definitely get a book like this that's for your region. I like this one in particular if you're in the Northeast, just because of the way it's laid out. It kind of prioritizes what you're looking for, so top edibles, and it cautions you about the poisonous mushrooms. It has a lot of detailed pictures, very detailed information, and the book is organized in a way, it classifies the mushrooms in a way that you could easily find what you're looking for when you find a mushroom in the woods and you're trying to identify it. So definitely, if you're going to mushroom forage, get one of these books. You don't want to do what I was doing with the trees, like, oh, I think this one's okay. There's a lot of deadly mushrooms that look like good mushrooms. And if you're on the fence about hunting for mushrooms, definitely go for it. Just be safe, be smart, know what you're doing. It's not as intimidating as some people make it seem if you have a good guide. So definitely just give it a try. And maybe in the future I'll take you along with me, make a mushroom hunting video, because I've definitely, when you hit a good, chicken of the woods or some other good edible, it produces a lot of food. If you find a lot of it, you could be eating it for days. So definitely a great thing to do. So we're in the kitchen. I got my evergreen needles here. I'm just going to separate the needles from the little twigs and, any other chaff, so to speak. Chaff? I don't know, I've only seen it written. Anyway, separate the needles out, and then we'll be back. So I separated the needles out, some of them into this bowl. I'm going to grind this up. Honestly, getting the evergreen needles off the eastern hemlock stems is kind of a big pain in the ass, so I think I'm just going to grind the rest of them without trying to separate them out. You could see I kind of did a shitty job as it is. So I'll grind this up in a, pastel and mortar, and then from there, I'm kind of making this up as I go along. I'm going to boil this water, toss the ground up evergreen paste in there, let it boil for like 5-10 minutes, then pour that water into a French press and then strain it out at the end. So, all right, I'm going to grind that up and come back to you. Yeah, so change of plans. This is really not grinding up any good. I don't know if you could see that, but I was grinding it for like several minutes and nothing's happening to it. So it's just kind of making a mess. So plan B, I'm just gonna throw this all into the pot to boil, and yeah, I'll see what happens. So we're coming to a boil here. Let's take a look. So I have like not that much water in there because in the past when I've made this, it's been pretty weak. So I think the ratio of needles to water needs to be higher than I've done it in the past. So um, yeah, that's why it looks like there's not that much water in there. And I'm cooking it covered to help, I don't know, get, I guess, the needles hotter and release more of their juices. And my theory is that there's some water in the needles that will come out. But the smell is, it's hard to explain if you've never smelled anything like this. It's like what air fresheners are trying to imitate. Like it's just the smell of winter and freshness and pine. It's awesome. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. So I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit, maybe stir it, and see what we get. It's been boiling for about 15 minutes. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to strain this out at this point. So I'm gonna try to transfer the water to the French press. I'm gonna do it off camera so I don't scald myself or make a big mess. So I'll show you what that looks like. I know it'll be pretty clear. It's not gonna look like a dark tea like what you're used to, but um, I'll show you the results here in a second. So there it is in the French press. Looks kind of gross. Looks like swamp water. But I'm just going to let it steep for a little bit in there. As you can see, there's some of the needles and whatnot got in there, so I'll use that to my advantage. I'll let that steep for, I don't know, 3 or 4 more minutes and then press it down and pour a nice cup of that. Poured it into a mason jar so you could see. I'll just let that cool for a moment before tasting it. Right down the hatch. I like the way this came out. When I made it in the past, it's been a lot weaker. It's not a strong taste. It's not overpowering, but it's nice. It's almost citrusy. Well, it is citrusy. So they say the natives and the settlers used to drink this, and it has a lot of vitamin C, especially the pine needles, and that's where they would get vitamin C in the winter. I think it's a great winter beverage. Pretty refreshing, and it's nice hot. Just makes you feel good. It's just a satisfying thing to make. I hope you give this a try. If you do, let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.